them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Okay.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
The following is an America Matters Media production. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the station or its advertisers, although we think they should. But that's the opinion of America Matters Media.
For those purple mountains in the land of the free, for those wide open spaces, as far as I can see, for our children's future, there's no greater cause. This is why I'm a soldier, for one nation under God, for America.
All right, everybody, and welcome to America Matters Media and Vets for Vet Leadership. We've got just roughly 30 minutes of this show, and I'm telling you, I'm excited. I'm pumped because I've had a couple of great weeks. Obviously, a lot of the candidates that Vets for Vet Leadership supported won their elections, and most of them went to Congress. So we have increased the number of veterans in Congress, which is an overall victory for America. It's not just about us. It's not just about one political party or another. It's about actually bringing people into the seats that are going to do something. And Vets for Vet Leadership is here to do that. And we've had met some great people, made great friends along the way. Some of the candidates that did not secure their races, they're not stopping there. They're going to continue on and continue serving and continuing to do the right thing for America, because that's what they do. Been an exciting last couple of weeks. Last week, I was the Grand Marshal of the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Veterans Day Parade. And let me tell you, that is a huge honor. And I want to thank the wonderful people of Pittsburgh for hosting myself, my wife, and my 2 children so that we could come to this event. I want to thank the National Flag Foundation for their efforts in the Light to Unite effort that occurred on Veterans Day evening, which was awesome. I mean, we had buildings and we had schools and private buildings and government buildings all across America. The state of West Virginia's capital lit up purple in honor of the 240th anniversary of the creation of the Purple Heart Medal. And that was awesome. Very, very great event. Wonderful event to all of you guys. The United States Marine Corps League, I salute you, because you all have shown up and shown time and time again that you have no problem showing up to get the nearly impossible done. And that's what they did. They went all across country, provided, honor guards at each one of these events. It was pretty amazing to see this happen all across the country. So while I was not a Marine, I was a soldier. I can tell you this, I have a lot of respect for Marine Corps League members and for Marines, because, they show up, and that's just exactly what we needed. I want to thank the United States Army, the United States Navy. They even lit up a ship purple. Okay. So that was pretty awesome. The United States Navy showed up at the New World Trade Center for their light up event. And it was huge. I mean, it wasn't just a small event, folks. I mean, there were hundreds and hundreds of people, at each one of these, and thousands of people all across the country. I mean, people were putting purple light bulbs on their porches in honor of this. And I'm still seeing these purple light bulbs. So they haven't stopped, and that's fine. Keep burning that purple every night. Show support and honor of those that earned the Purple Heart Medal. It's the only medal that you receive that requires a physical sacrifice. And sometimes that sacrifice is the ultimate sacrifice. Many members receive that award, never live to wear it. So that's something that you need to think about. Also, I went parachuting 2 weeks ago. That's right. I went and jumped with the Royal Laotian Airborne. That's right. And these, for those of you that can see me, these are my RLA jump wings that I earned fair and square, jumping out of an airplane at 3,400 feet. Pretty amazing thing. You climb out on the strut of the wing and you let yourself go. It definitely tests your moxie, that's for sure. And I had a chance to do that more than once, and I'm going back to do it again after Thanksgiving next week, because I have come to really enjoy this sport. So I'll be jumping with them more frequently and more regularly, and hopefully I'll get some friendship jumps, with Canadians and other folks, and maybe earn my wings with them as well. The point is, being a retired officer in the United States Army, I still have that ability. But even civilians can do that. You don't have to have a military connection. You can contact the Royal Laotian Airborne if you're interested in that, and you can get to South Carolina. Then have at it. Go do it, folks, because you only live once, and there's no sense in wasting that time saying, "Oh, I wish I would have done that." Just do it. Do it. Don't let things hold you back. I'm 54 years old. My body feels every gunshot wound that I've ever suffered in warfare, and every boom and bang and fall that happened to me. All of those things I feel just like anybody else, but I refuse to let it keep me down. And you should too, because you need to get out and enjoy this life. God has given us a life to live, my friends, and we have to live it to the best of our abilities. I want you to get motivated while you're listening to this, driving down the road, while you're watching this show on Facebook, America Matters Media, wherever you're at. I want you motivated, pumped up, ready for life, because guess what? You get one go around at this life. Don't waste it. Don't waste it. Do some great things in life. Big congratulations going out to the new Speaker of the House, Congressman Kevin McCarthy. Congratulations, sir. Looking forward to working with you in the future. It will be nice to actually get some return phone calls and return emails on matters related to our veterans' causes. I can tell you the last couple of years we have struggled to get much in the responses, and some of the most simplest basic legislation that is designed to help our veterans and to help their families, was pretty hard to get through. And generally we're filled with a lot of pork. So we would like to have our bills clear and clean, not a lot of pork. If it's going to be money set aside to help our veterans, then please use that money to help our veterans. We were kind of disappointed with the way that the PAC Act was. They were trying to slip in a little magic there that would have allowed them to move money and take money from the veterans. And we're glad that you stuck to your guns. Now, a lot of people don't understand that, but I've worked this a long time, and I understand that one simple word, shall or may, I'm telling you, makes a big difference. And for those of you that stuck to your guns and said, look, if we're going to help veterans with the PAC Act, then we better make darn sure that that money cannot be transferred, cannot be shifted, cannot be moved, and it goes to help the veterans and their families. Get off of our backs, politicians. You don't have to fund your slush fund, green energy stuff off of the backs of these veterans that have sacrificed, in many cases, their very lives. A lot of people like to get in front of a camera and raise a lot of hell and say a lot of things. You know what I mean? Because it draws attention. you know, and that's fine. You can draw all that attention as long as you're doing it for the right reasons. But don't let them push something through on our backs that will eventually be twisted, turned, and could be bled out in some nonsense, bottomless pit of spending. That's not what we fought for. That's not what my friends died for. That's not what I was wounded for. And I'm telling you, all of you that serve should stand up and be saying the same thing. There's no sense in us having these, being at odds against each other over this. And one thing I want to get into, we're going to talk a little bit about traumatic brain injuries today. Now, Vets for Vet Leadership is working with Resurrecting Lives Foundation on a very critical mission. This really has nothing to do with politics, has nothing to do with elections. This has everything to do with understanding and ensuring that those veterans, and quite frankly, anybody that suffers from a traumatic brain injury receives proper and adequate treatment. I'm going to give you some statistics here in just a minute. But before we do that, there is a movie that was made called Brainstorms, and it's about living with a traumatic brain injury. Now, I suffered a traumatic brain injury in Iraq, and I spent a year and a half going in and out of a polytrauma unit in the VA Medical Center. I was very fortunate because not everybody has a polytrauma medical facility. You know, I had to go and work with a speech pathologist because I had a hard time speaking, and I had an even harder time remembering, and I couldn't figure it out. You know, when you first go in, it was like, well, it's just post-traumatic stress. You're in shock. No, my brain had damage to it that was, in many cases, you know, it's not going to be fully repaired, but I can learn to work with that. And it took a long time, a year and a half. I'm telling you, we went through a lot of things. Eventually, about a year and a half ago, I went through surgery that repaired my sinus, my nasal canal. It was crushed. I had a horrible deviated septum from a crushed nose injury in the vehicle. I had damage to the insides of my ears, so they opened up my ear canal so that they would drain. I had horrible fits with memory loss and also with vertigo, where I would get so dizzy I'd get sick. And any of you that have had to deal with that needs to understand it can drive you nutty, bonkers, batty, crazy because you're worried about what's going on with me. Don't Google it, because when you Google it, everything is like, well, you're having a heart attack, you're dying, you get all panicky, you go to the hospital. Just go make an appointment with your doctor. And I know many of you veterans are out there suffering right now with the same thing that I had to suffer with. I can tell you the surgery was life-changing for me. Now, it was miserable for 10 days after that surgery. Absolutely miserable. You have cotton shoved up your nose. You can't breathe. You got to breathe out your mouth. You got to sleep sitting up. I mean, life was miserable for 10 days after that. And it was sore for a long time. I'm talking a couple of months. But eventually, it healed up. And I was able to do things differently. I was able to walk farther, run. I didn't lose my breath because I wasn't constantly breathing out my mouth. I wasn't hyperventilating. I was able to hear better. My ears drained. And I did not have as many issues with the dizziness. Every now and then we still deal with it. But those are things that there's exercise and things that you can do. But living with a traumatic brain injury has been a norm for me since 2004. It's been a challenge, to say the least. And I met Dr. Chris Ann Gordon back in 2012. And I can tell you that her organization, Resurrecting Lives, is truly doing just that, resurrecting lives. She actually was working with some soldiers that I knew had suffered pretty significant traumatic brain injury. And up in Ohio, doing a lot of work with these soldiers. And I became very intrigued in how this was going down and how they were being treated and some of the benefits and the effects that I've seen from this. So what I learned is that the VA system does not have the best traumatic brain injury capabilities. Again, I was in Huntington, West Virginia, a little different situation. I happened to attend high school with my speech, there it goes again, my speech pathologist. And she helped me greatly with my memory because we had a history. But I'll be honest with you, I could remember her, but I couldn't remember everything about her and all of our friends. So with me, it was a little bit different. She was able to utilize yearbooks and things from way back. That was really good, and it helped me significantly. And I'm very thankful for Jennifer Stevens, used to be Jennifer Armstrong, and the VA Medical Center for what they did for me. But it's not that way for every veteran. And I want to read you some statistics here. Traumatic brain injury, post-traumatic stress disorder, and suicide are kind of intertwined, folks. And you don't think about one affecting the other, but it really does. Iraq and Afghanistan veterans struggling daily with wounds of the global war on terror, including 877,000 with traumatic brain injury. 877,000. Over 8,000 GWAT service members have died in combat areas, and 109,000 GWAT service members have died to suicide. Let me tell you, dealing with this traumatic brain injury and not having it properly treated had me to the point of near suicide myself, thinking, I will never get better. I had my faith in my family. Not everybody has that either. And then I had, obviously, a system in place that helped me. But it's not available everywhere. Healthcare providers or specialists are primarily found at larger centers and university hospitals. 20% of providers and specialists treat TBI. 20%. That's not a very large number when you're looking at this 877,000 figure. And we're not even talking about the Vietnam veterans and the other veterans and the people that have received a traumatic brain injury from an accident. All of their lives matter, folks. All lives matter, okay? And we have to make sure that if we can take care of this small percentage, then much of the data that's collected from that is used to help the general populations. Veterans have a difficulty proving disabilities and lack access to the VA. Only 1/3 of the veterans are using their VA services because the VA services are not able to address the issues. Do you think I went to the VA for this surgery on my face? I absolutely did not. I went through a civilian doctor and I utilized my insurance to pay for that. I paid a deductible for that. So this stuff about we take care of you, this nose was crushed in a blast when my face planted in the front of a Humvee. Okay, I've had a difficult time breathing ever since. But the VA does not adequately have the resources to treat all injuries and issues. Great that I was able to go through the counseling, the therapy, and to being able to work with the traumatic brain injury to work on my memory and my speech. Wonderful. But that's not available for everybody. And the surgery is often not offered either. But I will say that the VA was able to treat me for my precancerous skin conditions on my face. And I was able to get that treatment. And I'm thankful for that. So I'm not just here bashing the VA, but what I'm saying is that it's not enough. If you truly care about the veterans of this country, you truly want to address this issue of traumatic brain injuries, suicides, and PTSD, then you got to jump on board with us on this. You got to stop turning away from it. Turn the politics off. Turn that crap off. People are dying, okay? Pull your heads and put your heads in the right place, politicians. I believe that we got good people in office right now. Some of them are twisted and got some problems, and they got things going on in different directions, and they're only going to do something if it benefits them. And for those people, I feel very sad for those people because they have to get up and live with themselves every day. But for those veterans that are serving in office right now that have dealt with this, I'm pleading to you that we need you to get on board and support us at Vets for Vet Leadership and Resurrecting Lives, and join us at the private screening of the documentary Brainstorms, and we're taking it to you on Capitol Hill. That's if we can get the support. That's if we can get the financial support to do it. I'm not asking you to send me money. Go to resurrectinglives.org and donate to them. There's on the bottom of the screen there. It's Resurrecting Lives, all one word, .org. Go to donate and put a little note on there, donating for Brainstorms, or donating for Vets for Vet Leadership, or Vets for Vets, whatever you want to put on there. If every American truly just $5, one time, $5, not every month, one time, $5. Every American that's ever said, thank you for your service, I appreciate you. I'm talking about $5, folks. $5. We could take this to Capitol Hill and we can address the 877,000 TBI issues that are not being treated. We can address the shortage of doctors and physicians and treatment programs in the VA. And we can address the suicide rates in America that are related to a traumatic brain injury, because there's no studies that really show that, folks. We're digging this information up ourselves, and we're finding some shocking information. So don't just think because this service member commits suicide that they had a mental issue. They don't. Sometimes they have a very real brain injury that's not been treated. And it's not been treated because they don't have the resources. They live in a rural area in America, or the VA does not provide adequate resources in every facility. Treatment is not available in rural areas. 44% of our veterans reside in rural areas, folks. It has been demonstrated that the Global War on Terror wounded veterans can be treated and healed for half of 1% of the veteran lifespan cost. 4.7 trillion is the economic cost estimated over the 40-year veteran lifespan. That's right. We generally get about 40 years after we get out of the service. That's just the way that it is. And if you truly love these veterans, if you truly love what we're trying to do, then we need your help, folks. We need you to join us at Vets for Vet Leadership, and more importantly, at resurrectinglives.org. Join Dr. Chris Ann Gordon and that team of physicians, by the way. They're all brain physicians, and they're very smart folks. They've been watching this for a long time. They're volunteering their time. Dr. Gordon has spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of her own money helping wounded veterans. And I love her because I know that she has her heart in it for the right reason. She's not running for political office. She's not looking for money. She's just looking for an opportunity. But we need these funds to be able to do this. Because when we come to Washington, D.C., we don't want to just sit and wine and dine, folks. We want to fly in some of these veterans that are suffering with this traumatic brain injury and put them in front of the congressmen and the senators and say, you need to put aside your petty differences for 5 freaking minutes and listen to what these veterans have to say and actually do something that is productive for the citizens of America and for the veterans that are suffering from traumatic brain injuries and PTSD. And for God's sakes, honor the sacrifice of those that have been killed and those 109,000 that have committed suicide. Because you know what, folks? We lost 109,000 global war on terror veterans to suicide when we lost roughly 8,000 who died of combat injuries. Something is wrong, America, and that something needs to be addressed, and we need the Veterans Administration to be on point, and we need every one of these politicians, Republicans, Democrats, liberals, whatever you happen to be. You need to step up. If you truly care about people, then you'll step up. If not, you'll continue shoveling the BS like you're always shoveling it anyways, and America knows what you are. So we need to step up, and we're going to ask you, no, we're going to demand of you to do your job. We need to see you at this viewing. We'll be there in March of 2023. We got till March of 2023 to raise the funds to make this happen, folks. Go to resurrectinglives.org, please. Resurrectinglives.org, and give them $5 and just put a note on there, Vets for Vets, so that they know that that money is going to put this message on Capitol Hill and once and for all address the issue of traumatic brain injury and the misdiagnosis that goes on between traumatic brain injury and PTSD, and once and for all maybe fix the VA so that it can help all veterans and those veterans in the future. I'm James McCormick, and I want to thank you for joining me today at Vets for Vet Leadership. God bless you, and God bless America, folks. And remember,
if you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.